off in the top left-hand side. We will start with the red Zerg player in this best of 3, I believe, round of 16 matchup today. It is going to be Dog. I think it's round of 16 just because I think we start round of 32. I don't think this is round of 8 just yet. And in the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player is going to be Stats. As we kick off and we get this set, see what's going to happen is... I want to say thank you quickly as the series starts to Zerg EL, hitting us up with the 5 gifted subs. Going out to Alt here, Linda Zabergarden, thank you so much, as well as Bangladeshi1234, Ensley03, and Grunfeld back. Thank you so much for the generosity of the 5 gifted subs, Zerg. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. If you guys are enjoying the stream, obviously do consider subscribing. Just a quick mention, obviously, as well, that nowadays regular kind of paid subs are worth a whole bunch because it helps us to guarantee a 70-30 split on our sub revenue. So if you do have a few dollars sitting around, you can afford to subscribe regularly. Helps us out a whole bunch, keep us on the right side of that sub split. Thank you so much if you choose to. Otherwise, let's talk StarCraft. Stats and Dark gets underway. Stats hatch blocking, but Dark choosing to go straight for the rich Vespian forward base. Dark loves doing this in this matchup because it allows him to be aggressive, and I would really imagine this is going to be no different in this game. I'd be very surprised if he didn't do something at least slightly aggressive. I already opened kind of saying that Dark likes to play aggressively in this matchup. He likes to be a player that kind of knocks his opponents early, and that could be very, brutal against someone like Stats who doesn't, he wants to play that kind of later game. He wants to set up into the later stages as best as possible. So we'll sit back and wait and see what happens. We do see a couple drones coming through. The spawning pool still coming out. Hatchery still coming in. Like I say, obviously, he was still just for the moment in the early few moments and figuring out exactly what we're going to get up to. This probe does leave the main base. Wandering around and about on the map now. Cybercore about to complete, and as that Cybercore finishes up, we got a few lings, ling speed. All of that continues through. Probe continues to just scout through the center of the map and going past that hatchery for a couple of moments. There is the Stargate over on the side of the main base, so that's going to be the setup here from Stats. Get that Stargate up and rolling. Feeling to start to work on the rocks, because generally if you can knock these rocks down, it's going to be a little bit tougher for your opponent to move across the map, which generally is good. As a Zerg point of view, you want your opponent to move across the map more slowly. You don't want them to be able to arrive on your base as quickly as they might be able to otherwise. Sling just looking around in the main base, getting some good scouting up actually, and spotting the Stargate straight away. The Stargate's unexpected, but it is still nice to just get that full confirmation of what you're playing against, of what you can expect to be, happening throughout these early stages and so on. That info is, like I say, just nice to have. Good to see it. And Dark will be happy to have picked that up. And Oracle number 1 is now on the way from Stats, who, if I had to make a guess, would probably be like a 3 Oracle into Blink player. Like, it's just very macro-oriented. You don't have to be super aggro off the Blink, right? There's a lot of little different things you can do. So that would be my kind of guess as to where we go in this game as the first Adepts do manage to shade out without going down. So the Adepts will live to get back home. Oracle number 2 currently popping up. We do not continue Adept production, which is worth noting as well, because there's a lot of builds nowadays where you can just build like 4, 5, 6 Adepts and then just go across the map and apply a little bit of immediate pressure, for example, but that's not really going to be the case here, as you can see. Just going to be seeing a couple pylons coming up right now from Stats, so bringing those pylons out. The 3rd Oracle is on the way. I really expect this to be a Forged Twilight follow-up, and again, just into that Blink in the very near future, so that's what I'm expecting. We do have our Rich Vespian being taken, and we do have our Nexus coming up to being about halfway done. A couple of simulators still coming out as well. Oracles. Getting 3 drones. The space is a little exposed, I guess, from the back side of the mineral line, where the Oracles can sit without being in reach of Queens quite easily, actually. Never really thought too much about that, but that is something you can utilize here, as Dark already building his first 7 roaches in this game. Roach Roar unspotted here from Stats. Does he realize just how aggressive Dark is being, though? No drones on this natural expansion should be a little bit of a sign. Like, why isn't there any economy there? That should be a little bit of a telltale that you may be in a bit of trouble very shortly if you're not careful. Plus, the combination of that Dark has taken that forward base early. I think Stats needs to start realizing right now that this is a situation that is not pretty for him, and he definitely doesn't want to go commit with these Adepts, I don't think. Uh-oh. I mean, they just run straight in. Yeah, okay, they see the Ravager. Congrats, you've seen what is to come. This is all of Stats' early units now pretty much just going down the drain, so they're not going to last at all. And Stats is going to be caught very off guard here. Now, now he is adding on batteries and so on, right? Look at the creep spread, though. This creep highway through the center. And these queens are about to just straight up start knocking on the front door. A little bit of battery healing on these oracles. Lings are going to come across, go nibble at this nexus. I mean, extra batteries and gateways all coming through. Our Ravagers and our Queens continue to knock at the front. Our Lings will take down that Nexus. I mean, that just is something you have to give up here as Stats. He does lose one Oracle taking out the Queens. Not a bad place to fight the Queens, because obviously they're off creeps, so they don't have transfusions. Can Stats truly hold the front door here? Batteries have been putting in some work. A force field to catch the Lings from getting away. I mean, so far he's making a defense out of it. He's still ahead on workers, of course, knocked down to 2 bases, but that's fine considering his worker lead. He still saturates both of these bases. The Cyber Core may be about a 4. If he loses the Cyber Core, he will not be able to build any more Stalkers, which are obviously meant to be kind of a major part of your army when you head into Blink as your major first upgrade, so expecting that a little bit. Ravager just continuing to knock through this Warp Gate, and that's going to go down next couple of moments. Couple more bios. Going to be hitting the force fields down. Stats has the batteries to help him, to keep him alive for a little while here. The bios keep on coming dark. He's now going to have a super battery to play against. He's targeting that down. He's not going to see its full life out of it. Couple of cannons finishing up as well. Stats is actually very close to making this work. As the Lings go down, these Ravagers are quite vulnerable in and of themselves. So, is this actually enough? A couple of Queen Transfusions helping, a few more Lings reinforced. An extra Stalker showing up. We're very close to having Blink. A little bit of extra kind of mobility on these Stalkers and, you know, chance to keep themselves alive and so on. Goes a long way, usually. 2 more Stalkers getting warped in, and again, Blink is now done. We're about to have +1 as well. Can this be enough for Stats to truly make a hold here? Can he actually defend this army of Dark? He's genuinely starting to do it. The Ravagers are going to begin going down, and Dark is very quickly going to start losing his critical mass of units that has really carried him through this fight up until this stage. Stalkers keep on keeping themselves alive, and that's all you need to do. The Stalker's going to push on through. The last couple of Ravagers begin to go down. We Blink on top of them. We don't even care for these Zerglings. They are just all going to go down, and that is going to be Stats holding this attack. Now, he has lost 20 pros, but he's also been, well, killing a few drones across the map as well. The Oracles got busy, so we are on only 20 drones, 24 probes, so Stats has a worker lead, and he still has these Stalkers. Now with Blink, now with +1, he gets a little surrounded by these Zerglings, though. Is that an issue? 2 more Stalkers, as we do lose quite a few. The Link count now dropping down. I think Stats is just much better set up for the future of this game because he has the Blink Stalkers. Obviously, Dark doesn't even have Lair Tech in play just yet. That is genuinely an issue. That Stalker being kept alive as well, and every Stalker we keep alive right now goes a long way. We do lose it in the end, but kept it that little bit longer, giving it a little bit more love. My goodness, what a game. As Stats has held 40 workers on each side of the map here. Again, he killed 19 drones across the other side. That's huge because it allowed him to take some damage himself. And now he's poking with these Stalkers, so he's saying, you do not get to recover here, Dark. You have to respect my Stalkers. You have to deal with the fact that I can still attack you. And yeah, Queen pops out, drops an inject in, but that's going to die. Drones are being pulled to try and survive this. Stats is looking pretty darn good in this game 1, guys. I'm genuinely very impressed. This was not an easy hold. I mean, it came right down to the wire. Killing a bunch of drones here is obviously massive because that's going to take Dark down to economy levels that just can't really keep him in this game. And Stats defends for game number 1. A map going into the second game. Let's see if he can maintain the advantage. As in the top right, looking to bounce back will be the Red Zerg player from Dragon Kaisi Gaming. This is Dark. In the bottom left-hand side, our blue Protoss player. This is Stats. Up 1, and extremely excited to have him back on board. I'd love to see Stats make a run today, man. It's just one of those, one of these cups where, you know, making a run ain't easy. Be very cool if you could make a run, show us some cool things. Some of the results created already in the quarterfinals, likely to meet Gumiho there. Bjorn and Hero still potential round of 8 opponents, so we're kind of hoping to get into that round of 8 match. As the winner of this is likely to play against Classic. Classic currently playing Future. We'd favor Classic there. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say about Future. But yeah, the winner of this series will play against Classic or Future as well, so yeah, some fun stuff potentially coming throughout the day. As you have Hatch, Gas, and April to start us out, so nothing unordinary on the build orders. See, the stats build order is pretty standard as well, so looking pretty, yeah, just as it should, right? I mean, stats never really does super crazy wild builds. Like, he is very precise and standard with his builds, and he does standard builds so well. That's what's so powerful about him, always has been. Or if Stats just low-key becomes one of the best players in the world again. That'd be so sick. That'd be so good for StarCraft. Stats is just such a friendly guy as well. If you ever met him, you probably know, but yeah. He's always very friendly, always the first to say hello. I hope he makes it out to some events. Obviously, if he does well enough in Korea this year, maybe he could make it to the World Championship. That'd be cool. It's not an impossible task. He made it into GSL Season 1 already, and if he plays like this, it's doable, right? It's doable. Stargate opening a second time around. Obviously, nothing to truly mention there, apart from just expecting to see Oracles once again. The link speed from Dark is going to give him the mobility on the map initially. He's more or less doing what he did last time, but obviously this map has no forward, Rich Fest being gas-based, so he doesn't have that to take advantage of or anything, so we'll just see the regular third location be taken. Ancient generally a bit of a larger map, easy to take bases on. It's going to turn into a bit of a macro game if Dog doesn't do anything to stop Stats. I think Stats would be quite happy to see the later stages on Ancient. Going through and poking on the Adept a little bit, a couple of links trying to force the Adept back. That continues to make a move around. There's a few more lings, ling speed, and the extra drones all coming out as well. So we continue to get ourselves set right now. A couple extra, these extra workers continue out down to the south, and again, just getting some initial early game motion, getting set up, waiting for these oracles to really get powered, because that's going to be the first the next main point of interest, I suppose. Seeing what these oracles can get done, seeing how much they can provide. Let's see if Stats can get a few workers early. That would be wonderful. Try and set himself up into a nice, strong, solid start would be fantastic, in fact. One drone already going down, and this Oracle just flies across towards the natural, where we're going to see not a lot of anything. And Oracle looks as though it's going to come back towards the center of the map, with the rest of the Zerglings making their way over the right-hand side. Oracle activates for a drone. 3 drones going down in general. Seeing that lab being brought up, and yeah, a few more drones, lings, extractors, all being brought into play at the moment. All of that coming online just now. This time we do see these kind of adepts moving across with the oracles out. This is what I was sort of talking about in the last game a little bit when I said you can keep making adepts and then kind of poke with those alongside the oracles. And oh, we actually get into the main base here. The lings will not have a great position at all. In fact, they have a pretty horrible spot. The oracle will help out against some of these lings as well. Now the queens have to come in to help, and now these drones begin to go down. Oracle is just fighting an extractor. That's the biggest shame of all, honestly, because that was just avoidable, losing the oracle. And if we hadn't lost the oracle here, this would have been brilliant. Obviously 6 drones is still nice, but losing the Oracle just puts a little bit of a taint on the success. We lose Oracle 2 as well. Stats gets 3 more workers, but now 2 Oracles dead, and he's just going to have so much less support for these Stalkers, Oracles are meant to be your aid against Zerglings early, throughout the early stages of the Stalker builds. And now those Zerglings are going to be a little bit more of a problem as the Oracle's just not in good enough numbers to truly go and help out. I wouldn't even hate it if Stats decide to build another Oracle again just to get one more up and running. There was the one Oracle again taking damage on the top side. It took a couple shots off the Queen, but not enough to truly go down, so it's going to be okay for the moment. 6 extra gates already from Stats. He really powers up into this blink phase of the game very quickly from here, and again, that first Oracle, or the final Oracle that's left alive, is going to get pushed away to the sides for the moment. Overseer flying over the natural. A few Stalkers warp in. They're going to go after this Overseer and put some damage on it. A Changeling drops out. The Adept cleans that out immediately. And again, just going to be seeing our blink and +1 continues. That's where Stats is going to be going next. That's where he's going to be focusing in the very near future. This will just get that 4th hatchery up and running. Lings and Ravagers are still producing through. The melee upgrade coming up to completion very shortly as well. These Adepts just commit by. They're kind of happy just to go and get a couple of drones. 2. Looks as though just 2. Maybe could have had 3 if it was in range the entire time. Debatable, because I think the one he would have targeted was out of range at first, so... Anyways, a couple more drones. Again, just keeping the Lings back as well is notable. And Dog has still only had 63 workers here as he rebuilds 7. That's one thing that Stats has done a great job of. And now pressing forward these first few Stalkers. And he has a lot of them, to be fair. But also bringing these couple of sentries clearly feels like there might be some opportunity to utilize some force fields. Right now would be not a bad moment to necessarily use them, as he actually jumps on the Lings. Force fields the right side so he doesn't get flanked. And I think, very importantly, he's pushing back so much of this creep spread, he's going to take a lot of the map control away from Dark. So he's going to stop Dark from having access to kind of as much of the map as easily as he would have initially liked. And Stats is going to end up pushing all the way up towards this base. Dark has clearly not felt comfortable taking a fight before now, so... that's kind of a wild start, man. That's kind of a wild start. So let's see how this continues. He does still have some force fields remaining. He'll pop a Guardian Shield to start us off here. He has to be very careful of these Biles, which do land dead center on a group of Stalkers. You want to try and avoid that as much as possible and not let that be replicated. Our Stalker's coming back in. Ling's taking a chunk of damage. One more Guardian Shield popping up. Has not really been utilizing force fields. Obviously, they do get knocked down pretty quickly by the Biles, so I guess that's part of the reason. This doesn't feel like it's as worth as just getting the Guardian Shields up, as we do see extra Stasis Wards coming in the back. Stats again keeping up this pressure. Dark got a Banelin Nest down, but he didn't really have a chance to use it yet, as now his Lings all caught in Stasis are going to create a bit of a force field that kind of at first was working against the Zerg. Now it kind of works against the Protoss, but Stats says, hey, actually I can now fight into you. You don't have the kind of the tanking Lings that you would usually have in this stage, so he blinks in quite aggressively. And end up blinking back. He has to be careful of A, those Biles, and B, the fact that these Lings are about to pop out of stasis, because then you are going to have these Lings in the front that you have to deal with once again. I think I was a little overeager maybe by Stats. I feel like that was maybe not quite the epic play it was made out to be when he blinked across there at first. A few more Zealots getting warped in, so just bringing those out, getting those going. You see one more Stasis Ward coming down as well. And again, Robo Bay and the facility continue up too, so bringing both of those into players. Now Lings will continue to come in. Our Corrosive Vials come down. Stalker's still forced away here. Most of our Lings coming across. Our Stalker's going to blink back big time. There's another massive Stasis Ward catching a lot of these Lings. Prioritizes getting the Prism out of there. He's still been eating quite a few Biles, and I think that is one of the things that's just wearing down this army. Is that it's just been eaten Bile after Bile, and now a lot of these Stalkers are on lower HP just to begin with. So those stats are going to back it up. He is building Colossi. He is teching behind this, so he will get to a new wave of tech. So will Dark as Banelin Speed comes online. He's also going to be able to add on some missile upgrades as he's finished up +2 melee. It's going to be a very different game right now. The Zerg is about to take the steering wheel, and the Zerg is going to drive us into a whole bunch of aggression, where we're expecting to see a lot of Baneling run-bys, a lot of Banes trying to reach mineral lines, because +2 melee is going to allow them to blow up, so many workers. And so Stats is going to have to be on the absolute defensive here. and make sure that Dark can't find all of those opportunities while Stats works on building the next phase of his army, which initially is going to be Colossi, but I can't imagine Colossi are going to be the way forward for the entirety of this. If that's true, then, well, then I'm kind of, like I say, I'm kind of surprised, I guess. At some point, you want to get some Archons up, you want to get the potential of Storms. These things are very dangerous. Colossi are nice, but the moment Vipers are, Colossi are obviously just instantly going to lose a lot of their value as well, so... Of course, we might not get there, as we already have our Zerg army ready to fight here, so Stats has to get ready to deal with this. Again, he's got the Colossi, so the Lings won't last too long with the Colossi. It looks as though Dark is not interested in continuing his push forward. He's going to back it up. I mean, I think he just dropped the Infestation Pit right now, get the Hive started and get into Vipers. He does exactly that. Infestation Pit starts. You just need a way to deal with Colossi, and the fastest way to deal with Colossi, if you don't have anything right now, is genuinely to just get Vipers out. Obviously, you could go Spire into Corruptors, but the Vipers are really good because they provide utility through other ways as well, right? It's not just like some Corruptors that then, if they're not killing Colossi, are kind of just running around the map. Maybe they become Broodlords eventually, but, the only other thing they can do is caustic spray bases. They kind of eat up a lot of your army supply on a follow-up attack or so you've got to be careful about that. Stats is attacking right now. He's not going to give Dark the chance to get towards that Hive Tech in full. Dark setting up a massive surround. Here we go. He's going to get a full surround on this. The Colossi need to macro backwards and try and keep it alive. Two of them melt just way too quickly. Stats caught out of position. This setup from Dark was beautiful. Slamming in from every angle. And that is not even going to be a competition. You cannot fight like that. That's why Colossi absolutely just flounder and fail. Because they cannot fight an army that comes in from every single direction. And Dark, with one fatal attack, is going to tie this series. One, tied up, heading into game number 3. In the bottom right-hand corner, the blue Zerg play who got that deadly surround. It is Dark. He takes on the red Protoss in the top left corner of the map. It is Stats. Final map of this series. Young Gresvan. Stats has definitely shown us his abilities. He's definitely competitive. Awesome to see, right? Again, you never quite know what shape these guys are in. Even when we saw Stats qualify for GSL Season 1 last season, it's like, is he still kept on practicing? Did he just try for one season and he's like, no, this ain't for me? Kind of like, this ain't for me, like Innovation did. That's the one I was trying to think of who it was. Innovation just didn't even try for Season 2 of GSL, so, you never know. In this day and age, he's going to keep on going and he's going to call it a day. But yeah, it looks as though Stats has been keeping in shape, keeping up his level. If he's playing like this, it's a real shame he didn't qualify for GSL, because it looks as though he could be competitive in GSL playing like this, right? Well, we do have ourselves a few moments as we resume into this. Obviously, PvZ does take a little while to truly get set. Probably just expecting a Stargate again, though. I don't think the choice of build is bad from Stats. I think it's very good. Obviously, it would have been even better if he could have kept just a couple more Oracles alive. Remember, he lost 2 of his Oracles so early last game, and yet he was still able. Yes, he did good damage, but he was still able to do so much beyond that. So if those Oracles had just stayed alive, imagine the benefit that could have been. Extra stasis wards, a little bit of extra damage on Lings, and maybe he would have broken through Dark during that initial Stalker push. Stargate just coming down. And Deb just coming around the left-hand side. Warpgate coming through. And just going to be seeing a Queen setting up at the front as well. A Natural Hatchery coming on in. Link Speed coming on in as well. Everything's pretty peaceful while we wait for, again, the Oracles to take to the stage and to see if they can maybe make a little bit of a difference throughout the early stages. First Oracle pops out the Stargate, gonna come across the side. Second Oracle's on the way. The Spores coming up, the few drones are building. Queen is producing. Let's see what Dog's defense is like against these Oracles. Only 3 Adepts here, so not looking as though we're gonna go poke across the map like we did on Ancient. Again, that's kind of one of the, first things you can kind of keep our eyes on as well nowadays, whether those Adept numbers rise up, if we are going to see those Adepts getting a little bit more aggressive and so on, and so forth. Couple of drones, and immediately the Spore just comes back in to push the Oracle away. The Oracle going to head up the right-hand side. That counts on 2 more gates. Now, if he doesn't go forward straight away, this might be a more aggressive variation of what we've been seeing. We just go blink initially, and then you kind of, really hit hard with the initial stall, because it's also only 2 Oracles, not triple Oracle. As we will find 4 drones. Oracle should be out alive, if only just. Is there a world this is Glaives? Yes. There is a world where this is Glaives. This is the world where it's Glaives. So yeah, only 2 Oracles. Obviously, straight into extra gates. No Forge on the Twilight Council as well. Glaives is going to be an option. There is also just, again, you kind of can go blink and kind of 4 gates more aggressively, then set up, get going on the 3rd base after that. Oh, that's in pretty, though. The last thing you want to have happen right now is to lose Adepts. Oh, Oracles! Oh my goodness. Obviously, the Oracles want to protect those Adepts as best as they can, because the more Adepts you have, the better the Glaives is going to be. Doc is spamming Lings, and he is going to go Baneling Nest as well. With this kind of later Glaive attack, Ling Bane can be pretty good against it, just because you do not have to worry so much about these Warpins of Adepts, because the Adepts are coming from across the map. There's no Robo. So you have time to set up Banelings, and then, as you use up all your Banes, you have time to set up more Banelings, because the Adepts are coming from the other side of the map, whereas usually you've got to deal with the next round of, Adepts so quickly, so soon, that trying to defend it with, Ling Bane is extremely difficult to keep on top of. One Queen, Oracle just gonna take a little hit. Couple of creep teamers going down. Adepts come forward, just gonna go after this first Queen here. Doesn't quite get it, but this is still okay, right? Trading with Queens is absolutely a reasonable way to start out. We only get 1 though, so that's a good defense from Dog. That's a good hold. Now the Lings actually come running forward. The Adepts a little bit split. The Bane's not being used just yet. If the Adepts commit, they might go straight into the Banelings. They actually got fairly split up, but again, I'm not sure they can really continue through with this. I'm just going to be seeing the rest of these drones now being pulled in. Only 3 workers going down. We have kept Dog, so Dog is on a lower drone count. And Stats is on a 3rd base, so this isn't super committed, right? He's got a potential follow-up here. I mean, especially because Dog's been on a lower drone count throughout. I think that's the one thing that's going to keep Stats alive and kicking. Following these Adepts, maybe not doing quite enough, I suppose. Oracles will get rid of that first Queen. Going to find another creep tumor. That Oracle was so low, but it just about manages to get away. Escaping out for the moment. Another Oracle just about gets out of there. My goodness, we are playing with fire right now. Double Roachron from Dog. I'm not convinced that that's meant to happen, but he did already get Burrow, right? No? He started Burrow at one point. If he had Burrow, maybe I was going to say like Roach Speed and what's the other one called? Tunneling Claws. At the same time, and just kind of get Burrow Roaches moving around. But, yeah, now that we've not seen them burrow, then obviously that seems a little less likely, so Robobane, the facility from Stats, is going to tech up out of this much more quickly than he's done in previous games, so just going to send himself straight towards some splash damage here. Playing against a heavy Ling count, you would imagine we're probably going to just have to see Colossi out of this Robobane. I actually wouldn't have hated Storm. You're playing against a Ling Bane-based composition. Storms and Archons really are almost the more reliable way to play than Colossi. I know you're kind of, hoping on the Storms to land, but Colossi, I really feel, I mean, you saw what happened to them last time. They just can't hit from every direction. Storms can cover multiple angles on a flank. Not that Colossi don't work. We saw, we've seen Colossi be a huge factor in PvZ over the recent months. Just, I wonder when it is kind of better to go for that. Again, kind of like the Archons and the Templar rather than just the Colossi. Obviously, if this doesn't get seen and Stats can get a big push going with 4 Colossi or so, that could be, something to catch your opponent off guard, and then you could maybe see quite some success. So, some potential, some opportunity there as the Adepts move across. The Zerglings are going to be there, and the Adepts immediately just going to have to lift back up into the Prism. I mean, we've been chipping away at drones throughout, though, and Stats has a lot of money to spend. He could do with a warp in right now. He's got the free supply. He needs to, again, spend his cash. The sooner you spend your cash, better off you're typically going to be, because the next warp in will be off cooldown, and now he's up to 1,600 minerals banked. He's trying to do a lot with these Adepts and so on, but if it's coming at the cost of the macro, then obviously you don't really love that, as we are still yet to, well, add anything. Starts up Blink. Stats. We still have so much money. Maybe he just wants to warp in Stalkers, but warping in Stalkers doesn't feel good when you've got no gas. And obviously warping in Zealots when you don't have charge is not exactly ideal, so maybe this is just a gas issue. There's so many minerals. Well, even then, just start up, maybe start up a 4th base, because why the hell not? Or start up some stacked defense to help secure your other bases. I feel like those things could absolutely come straight through here, but Oracle still overhead. Just going to be seeing our Lings and our Banes continuing together. The rest of these Banes come across, moving over to the other side. As that 4th now starting up, we will see ourselves a Hive on the way from Dark, so he's going to get himself to those Vipers that are going to be so critical against the Colossi. So unless Stats hit soon, Vipers are going to be out, and then he's almost going to be forced to go Templar anyway, because he would need feedbacks to realistically counteract the Vipers. So this is all kind of that knock-on of things that you kind of just need to get going. This army of Stats works into the center, heading down toward the bottom right. First few Creep Chambers already going down. Stasis wards being placed. There we go, a couple force fields coming in. Just going to be seeing a lot of these Lings going down. The spines are being picked off. Colossi, there's 6 of them. 6 freaking Colossi. I mean, you need Vipers, no? And we just don't have them yet. Stats hit the timing I was talking about. He's there in time to actually truly start punishing all this, and the force fields are stopping Dark from getting anywhere. Stats might be about to move through to the round of 8. Into some PvP against Classic, I believe, because he is just knocking this out of the park. These Colossi have been unstoppable, and Dark just didn't have an answer. The 4 Colossi I was actually not convinced about, but then he went all the way up to 6, and 6 is actually turned out to be pretty darn good. The drones are running, as he do start to lose a couple Colossi, but there's still 4 remaining. As, well, some extra Banes from the other side are going to crash in for some damage, I'm sure, but even that wasn't so exciting. Dark has to tap out GG. Stats is going to find the 2-1 victory. Stats is back on the menu, boys. Let's go.